Okay, hey everyone. So today I have an exciting, very exciting new video for you. I am showing you my 2020 bullet journal setup. I have gone from the bullet journal Leuchtturm notebook to, excuse me, that's my cat, to a traveler's notebook setup. So really quickly, I'm just flipping through my last year's 2019 bullet journal for you. I used, like I said, the Leuchtturm 1917 official bullet journal notebook in the blue color. I really enjoyed this notebook, but with every new year, I just like a new change. Really quickly, I'm just showing you that I made it to about page 140. In the back, I always kept some of these stickers, things like that. Um, but that is all aside from the pen loop that I added. And last year I used this Papermate Gel pen, which I just love the way my handwriting looks with this pen, but it smears a lot. So I was on a hunt for some new pens for my new bullet journal, and I will show you everything that I have. But really quickly, I am just flipping to the spread that I have in my current journal for my 2020 planner. I watched a ton, and I mean a ton, of YouTube videos about planner setups, bullet journal setups. I always refresh myself on the basics of bullet journaling with Ryder Carroll's videos, and I just reflected on what worked for me this year and what didn't work for me this year. So I need simplicity, not overly decorated. Towards the end of the year, I started decorating a lot, and I think I'm going to stray away from that. And what didn't work for me was I need a new pen. And I wrote something else down there. I need a way to, I don't know what I wrote there, I'm sorry. But anyway, so I have a traveler's journal and I will show you exactly how I have that set up. Well, like I said, I watched a ton of YouTube videos, and anytime I had an idea, I just would jot it down right there. So that was really helpful. Here is the traveler's notebook that I have for 2020. I'm so excited. I actually made this. My husband does a lot of leather work, so we have leather sitting around the house. So I just cut it. He helped me around the corners on a sander and dye it. We dyed the edges black, and then the rest of it is this really pretty reddish maroon purpley color, and I just really like how it turned out. It's not perfect, but I think it looks really cute. So I will be using, I believe currently I have it where I'm going to use 2 inserts in the journal. I'll show you those shortly later, but I just wanted to show you how the spine looks and how I did the elastics. And then I also made this bookmark out of some embroidery floss. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to like the bookmark like this, and I may add a second bookmark as well, but we will see. So yeah. Really quickly, the only thing that this is missing is a pen loop. So I'm going to put the pen loop on. I bought the same Leuchtturm 1917 pen loop that I used last year. This time I just got it in black. And I actually bought the pen loop before I made the journal because I didn't really know what I was going to do this year. And then after watching some planner videos, I decided a traveler's notebook was the way I wanted to go. So I am just going to put this on. Yeah, but while I'm going through the process of lining this up and putting it on my journal, I just wanted to say that planning is just something that I really enjoy. It's not 100% necessary to do a bullet journal like this. There are pre-made planners out there, but for someone who loves stationery and things, this is just what is going to work for me this year. So I'm really excited to do more bullet journaling in this coming year. So the pen that I've landed on is this Sharpie pen. I believe it's in the .07 nib. It doesn't actually say it on the pen, but I landed on this because it's a felt tip. It won't smear as much. Unfortunately, I don't like my handwriting as much with a felt tip pen, but that's okay. So I will get used to it. But I did some paper research and I discovered that Rhodia paper is apparently really good, and just from experiencing it, I like it so far. So I got these Rhodia plastic cover notebooks. They are dot grid A5 size because I'm just used to the A5 size, and the paper is white. There are no numbers on the paper, but so far I'm really liking it. So yeah, I'm using one notebook for my key and all of my collections, as well as the index, and then another notebook for the monthlies and dailies. So in this video, I'll show you how I set up the first one. Before the video started, I made this key, and I also did that little 2020 thing, and I numbered all of the pages because previously I used a Moleskine notebook in the past, and Moleskine, sorry, in the past, and numbering the pages as I went was kind of a hassle, so I went ahead and numbered them all ahead of time, and I tested a ton of pens on this paper. And like I said, I'm super impressed with the quality. Even with the Tombow dual brush pen, there's hardly any ghosting and definitely no bleed through with anything. I didn't test anything extreme, but I tend not to do that anyway in my journal, so I just tested all those pens, and if you wanted to pause it and see what pens I tested, feel free to go back and pause that. So yeah, I am just taking this Tombow Fundnosuke, I believe is how you say it, brush pen. I believe this is the harder tip, and I'm just putting my name in the front there. Not too happy with how this lettering turned out, but you know what? It doesn't matter. And then I'm just putting a little heart, and I do use a typical bullet journal key, and you can see that there. I have not adapted my key at all from my last bullet journal, except for I added the Explorer, which is a little plus sign, which was actually something Ryder Carroll talked about in one of his most recent videos. But yeah, I'm just quickly setting up the index, and like I said before, I'm keeping the setup of my journal very plain, very simple. So really, I just wrote the index header in there, and you'll see I go back and add a bit more in a moment. And now, right after the index page is my future log. So for the future log this year, I kind of decided to do a different setup. I always do a vertical monthly setup, but I've never done a vertical future log before, so I'm actually excited for the opportunity that this affords. I am using, also just showing you, the lei pen. I'm doing the Saturday, Sundays in gray pen and the rest of the days of the week in black. You can't really tell in the video, but it just kind of helps me break it up without having to draw the line between each week like I typically would do. So I'm just going through the whole year, and I believe that I do not show you everything. I'm just showing you this first page, and I just put the numbers down one side, and yeah, there we go, label everything. So I just did 3 months per page, and I like to start with February because I will have January in the journal already. So I just start my future log with February, and yeah. I did notice that there wasn't enough differentiation for me with just the gray S and S for Saturday and Sunday, so you will see what I do to remedy that in just a moment. But I am just going through on the second double page spread and writing in the months for that, and then I just have one extra column for 2021 in case plans for the year after pop up. Apologies if you can hear my cat. So yeah, that is how I decided to set up my future log. There's my cat in the video as well. And I will go back in a moment, and I decided to incorporate a gray zebra Mildlliner, so you will see how I incorporate that on a few of my spreads shortly. Something I like to set up each year is my bucket list. So on the left side here, you'll see that I'm doing my lifetime bucket list, and on the right, I am doing my 2020 bucket list. I know a lot of people do 20 before 2020 or something like that. I just list out some things that I like to do every year, or this year in particular, so that is what I'm doing. And I love this Uniball Signo white gel pen to correct any mistakes that I make, so I'm just using that to touch up some of the letters that I thought were too thick, because I am still new at brush lettering, so yeah. I like to keep track of the things on my bucket list that I have completed already, so I just counted out the spaces and did that, and then the ones that are still remaining. I like to do it this way because it's kind of nice to see what I've accomplished or done, I guess, because not all of my bucket list items are accomplishments. So that is why I do it that way this year. I thought that would be a good idea visually to not have them all mixed together. And I will go in and fill that out right now, or later, I believe. So you will get to see that. Now for my 2020 bucket list, I reference my 2019 bucket list, And anything that I want to do again this year, I will put down. What I like to do is write down each item, and then I leave a space between them to write when I did it or what I did. So for instance, a day trip, where did we go on a day trip? So I will notate what we did underneath each one. And I really find this is a good way to reflect on my year in a really quick way. So that's what I like to do, and I've done it for the past 3, maybe 4 years, and I really like how it works for me. And you will see in just a moment that at the bottom part of the page, I leave a notable space. So if anything great or interesting or really fun happens in the year that's not on my bucket list, I put that there as well. Hey, Titan. So the camera cut out, but I finished this spread up, and I was just showing you an example of something I've done, something I wanted to do on my bucket list. And that was just a really quick spread on my reading challenge. And now I am working on a gift idea spread. But back to the reading challenge, I like to challenge myself to read a certain number of books each year. I've kept it at about 12 books a year, so a book a month, and that just seems to be a good number for me. So that is what I'm doing this year, but I will explain to you a little bit later how I plan to track that. But for my gift ideas spread, I just like to have a general gift ideas, and I realized that I needed something separate for Christmas. So I'm just listing out Curtis, which is my husband, my mom, and then Hannah, who is my sister, and then there's a section for other as well. So anytime I quickly think of a gift idea, I can write it in here, and it's really easy and quick to reference. Now I will say, Curtis, I write your gifts in code so you can't read them, so don't even try. Anyway, so yeah, I just write those names down, and then closer to Christmas time, I will put down the names of people I need to get gifts for and do that as well. But I just wanted to go ahead and dedicate a page to that with the other gifts. So moving right along, I am creating a wish list spread. I found that I need a place to write down things that I want so that I'm not frivolously shopping and I'm shopping for things that I actually really want or really need. So I just split it up between beauty, so that's skincare or makeup or hair care, anything like that, nail polish. I love nail polish. So I put all that on that list, and then a general wish list for other things, household items, just anything that wouldn't fall into beauty. Now, I will say that I'm going back in and filling in some of these spreads, so do stay tuned. Right now, I'm just kind of putting in the header, so that's the fitness spread. And then I am a quilter and crafter, so I have a 2-page spread dedicated to my projects and quilts. So I have a lot of quilts that are in progress or need to be started. Same with projects. I'm really bad about finishing them, so writing them all down helps me to visualize, hey, you probably should finish that before starting something new. Unless it's a gift for somebody, then that would be the exception. So I have a 2 finish and a 2 start projects, and same for quilts as well. And then a second section under the quilts I have is, I believe, fabric sets. So I have several sets of fabric that kind of go together that could be turned into a quilt in the near future without me having to go to the fabric store. So I've been a lot better about using up what I have and not shopping frivolously, so my fabric stash has actually gotten smaller, which is really good. I like the lack of clutter. So yeah, here's that spread all filled out. I'm just adding one more quilt to finish on there, and that is for my little sister's baby boy. And moving right along, I have an ideal day. So I've never done a spread like this before because I've never been good with scheduling. However, I started a new job last week, and the first week of January really is my first actual week on the job, after the holidays and stuff, Christmas. So after I get more into the swing of things, I will be setting up an ideal day for my weekend, but I really just wanted to see how I'd like to set up my days on average. Obviously, I won't stick to a schedule, but on average, how I'd like my ideal day to look, and I will be filling that in. And the same with the budget planning. That is something that I needed to go over with my husband. So a little bit closer to the first of the year, we will probably set up our budget. I like the Dave Ramsey budgeting system, so I will be setting up a spread for that. Now I'm just going through and indexing all of my spreads. I love indexing. I think that is the key, one of the main things that the bullet journal system really helps with. I can just compile everything that I have into one place, and then it's really easy to find what I need when I want to go back to it. So indexing is very important to me. So that's what I'm doing right now. You will see I skipped a page. There's just a spread that I'm keeping private, and that's what that is for. So I'll just write that in once the camera's off. But yeah, moving right along, I am adding one more spread, and that is the YouTube spread for this channel. Hi. I need to figure out how I want to plan for my YouTube videos, but maybe just a place to jot down video ideas or things like that would be really good, because previously I have brainstormed what videos I'd like to make, but it'd be nice to have it written down. So now I have a dedicated spot for my video ideas. So as you can see, now I'm going in and adding a bit more detail to all the spreads. I did fill out the information for the future log. I did holidays in gray, and then I used a maroon lei pen for birthdays. And then I just wanted more differentiation for the weekend, so I'm using this zebra Mildlliner in gray, and I just think that this looks so much more visually pleasing. And it helps me differentiate each week much better visually. So I did that. I will say that the Mildliners do not work very well with the lei pens. It did smear, so just keep that in mind. And then because I liked the look of the Mildliners so much, I am going through and adding some detail to all of my pages. So for the index, I think that this will just help me to read each line much more clearly, and I just think it looks much more visually pleasing. Even though it was a lot of work to do all these lines, I sped it up even faster for this part. So yeah, I'm just going through, adding some details to my bucket list page, just highlighting some of the titles and sections, and I just think that this gives it a little bit extra. As you can see, I filled in the wish list as well, with things from my previous bullet journal that I still haven't gotten or that I'd still like to get maybe. So I am just decorating the wish list page as well with the Mildlliner. This is a dot grid journal, like I mentioned earlier. You just can't see the dot grids, so I did freehand all of the lines instead of using a ruler. And now I'm just setting up the fitness spread. So this year I did the Couch to 5K program. I'm actually 1 week short of it right now, so this week is the last week in December, and I will be doing the last week of the Couch to 5K program. It's a really great app, and I definitely suggest it if you want to get into running. I'm not actually going to run a 5K, I just wanted to get into running. So now I did some research on what to do after 5K, so my plan currently is to run 30 minutes 3 times a week. And I just did that for the first month of the year, so for 4 weeks. So we will see if I stick to that, and then I will assess from there, and then I can add more of my fitness plans in the rest of the spread. But I just wanted to put a cute little quote over here about fitness. So I found this one on Pinterest. It didn't have anyone to credit, so sorry about that. But it says, "I run because punching people is frowned upon." And honestly, that's true. Running is a way for me to de-stress, and yeah, so I feel like I'd want to punch people a lot more if I was more stressed, so I thought that that quote was very cute. And I just used the gray Mildlliner again to decorate that. Moving along to the projects and quilt page, I'm just highlighting the title sections there. And now we can go through the final flip through, and you can see Titan over there in the corner again. But I just have this cute little 2020 thing, and I actually wrote notebook 1 up there. And now I'm just showing you my key. So the primary ones I use are the task, the completed, and then the migrated, as well as the notes. And I actually use notes kind of as my diary of things that happened that day. So that is all that I use as the main ones, and I do use the other ones, but I really don't have to reference my key anymore. I've been using the same key for so long. I just keep it there for maybe in the future. If I change things up, I'll know what key I used in this journal. And it's just pretty to set up a key. So I'm just showing you my future log now. I have filled in everything. If we have any plans or any tasks that need to be completed in a particular month, there's a few lines down there at the bottom. If maybe it's not something that falls on a particular day, I can just write a task down at the bottom. Same with my bucket list. I will fill this in off camera. I don't really want to share all of my life goals, so I will fill that in off camera. And the bucket list for 2020, I'm just going to really quickly go in and add those little note things. So like I said earlier, if we do go camping, I'll write the date that we went camping and where we went, who we went with, if it was more than just me and my husband, things like that. And same with the vacation. If we go on vacation, where did we go and when did we go? And this year I'm hoping that we can get a dog, so that's why that is on my bucket list. Moving right along, we have the reading challenge spread. I am actually going to leave the left-hand side blank because every time I read a book this year, I will actually print off the cover and I'm going to glue it in there. So I thought that that would be a really cool way to have a visualization of the books that I've read in a year, and I will do it in black and white ink. I saw that on someone else's Plan With Me video, but I'm sorry, I can't remember whose that was, so if you know, leave it in the comments below. But I'm just putting this quote that I found on Pinterest over on the right hand side to balance out the page. And a little heart, of course. So moving along, we have the gift idea spread. Obviously I won't fill that in on camera. And my wish list spread that is just perfect for me to add more things to if I need to. And like I said before, I will add more on this fitness page after I see how the first month goes. Maybe I need to up it, keep it the same, etc. My projects and quilt spread, and then like I said with the ideal day and weekend, I will set them up probably by hour, but I will set them up once I have a little bit more of an idea how this new job is going to work out. And the budget planning is something my husband and I will discuss shortly, and then I will have to make a spread based on that. I'm not sure if I'll do a video on it. I think I want to keep my finances kind of separate, so we'll see. And then my YouTube video ideas spread, and that is all that I have in this journal. I'm just flipping through to show you that I've numbered all of the pages, and then at the very back I didn't number the page, but it's just the pen tests. And that is the first Rhodia notebook. And I have plenty of room left to put more spreads, so that is how I'm going to do my bullet journaling this year. That notebook will be for the collections and spreads, things like that, and then I'm just going to slide that under the larger elastic here in my journal. I just did that by opening it up to the middle of the journal. There are plenty of other videos on travel notebooks if you need those. And then I'm going to take the other notebook that I have, and this will be for my monthly and daily pages, and I'm just going to slide that on the other elastic. And that right there will be my bullet journal setup for 2020. It'll be interesting to see how I like this kind of dual notebook system. I think I will like it, but I'm not quite sure. So it's all an experiment and we'll see how I like it. But for now I'm just putting the bookmark in the future log, and I'm going to put my pens on there as well. But yeah, I really like how this leather traveler's notebook turned out. They're very expensive, but this one was not, because we had all the supplies laying around. I just had to buy leather dye in the color I liked. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for my next video where I will set up the other dot grid journal for 2020. Bye!